make sure you do it on full blast. All right, so recap, we got all our valve train torqued to 40 foot-pounds. I don't think we're gonna know for sure if we got any kind of issues until we get this thing oiled, pumped up, running, and then we'll know. Then we'll find out. This guy is a little wiggly, and after some research, I guess that's normal on these Gen 6s. I mean, I'm positive this thing's never been line honed. The crank, everything looks totally stock on this, like no one's been in it. Pistons are stock. Somebody would have bored out something and put different slugs in it if this thing had been gone through before. But everything I'm reading, this amount of play is pretty normal for a Gen 6 454. I'm just gonna run it. If we hear a bunch of rattling or we got timing issues and things like that, then I'm gonna have to figure something else out for the timing. But you know, I mean, it is tight on the run side. Once it gets past the crank, then she loosens up over here before it gets to the cam gear. I don't know. Not ideal for sure, but when I took the original timing chain off, it was exactly like this. This is how it was. So I don't know if this is a Gen 6 thing, 100% or what, but not the most ideal situation. I'll definitely tell you that. I went ahead and put the retainers for your little, you know, dog bone things that hold your rollers in place. Tightened those guys down, cleaned it up. So we're pretty much ready. Throw the timing cover on. If you guys are running Gen 6 stuff, make sure you put that crank sensor back in, because that'll be a giant hole in your timing cover. This guy, you know, I didn't put the ring back on. We don't need that, but you definitely need to plug this hole. So either put the sensor back in or get a plug. And this timing cover did not come with the seal in it, so I already had a engine kit for this motor. Went ahead and drove that on in. Wasn't too bad. But what you want to do on this seal, you know, get your gasket in place, and there's going to be some flat metal spots on each side. You're going to want to go ahead and just cream that guy up as much as possible with RTV. Just give it the good gulf, or these guys are going to leak for sure. I always use the Right Stuff Black. It's kind of my go-to. These containers like this kind of make life a little bit easier on you. And you just pull the trigger, goo it up, don't be shy. Make sure everything kind of gets worked in where it needs to go. In this engine, you need to have your timing cover on before you start messing with your oil pan. So we need to get this guy on. Ooh, just put that anywhere. Torque down, which I'll have to look up the torque specs. Don't know them. And you have alignment dowels, which are an amazing help on a motor like this, because before they gave you dowels, man, you were running real good chance of messing up your crank seal. So if you don't have this crank seal perfectly centered, you're gonna mess it up when you press your balancer on, and it's gonna leak. You're gonna have a brand new motor with a giant front cover leak. And I do want to put this on. I might put the old oil pan on, I don't know. Or maybe just throw a piece of wide tape. So I do need to paint the motor at some point. Got to wipe it down and paint it. Oop. Not paying attention there. All right, so I'll look up the torque spec on these. Probably not gonna be much. I'm guessing in the 10 to 15 foot-pounds range. Get these guys knocked down, and then I'm gonna figure out whether I'm painting this right now or just gonna go ahead and work on the oil pump, oil pan, cleaning everything up under there. Let me kind of devise a plan here. Check that, that's 6 foot-pounds. 6 foot-pounds on the timing cover. Man, I don't even think I have anything that goes that low. We're gonna just snug her up. All right, kind of got some spots taped off that I didn't want paint to go to. We're gonna shake her up. In my history, it's always been okay to paint water pump ports. Haven't had any problems there. I did put an old exhaust gasket on the exhaust ports, the head, so that'll kind of cover that up. You don't want the paint melting off on your port and then creating an exhaust leak. And I'm just gonna kind of gingerly go around where the valve cover bolts, this area. If I get any paint on it, I'll just brake clean it off pretty quick. Don't want paint there, but just like any old good Chevy, you got to paint it hugger orange. No question whatsoever. And again, be gentle around this flange right here. Don't really care about the China wall. She can be orange because we're gonna put enough RTV there that Evel Knievel couldn't jump that gap. I do want the balancer black and the pulleys black, so that will be put on at a later time after I paint all that stuff. Keep a rag on me that's got brake clean on it. And as I do get a little bit of paint on, the quicker you wipe something off, the better you're gonna be. Ooh, laid a heavy bead of orange there, like it never happened. Excellent. And these are old spark plugs. So these guys are just kind of acting as a gasket. If you ever painted an engine, get ready to put a couple coats on if you want really good coverage. It's like this metal has pores and it soaks it up. Little knock sensor, never be used again. We can throw some orange at it. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. I'm gonna have an orange valve spring. I got most of it. All right, same story. Just keep running around. So you got a pretty good bright orange coat on it. You can kind of see how I just threw that second coat on there and it brightened it up quite a bit. Just trying to get the very tip of the rag. Definitely got some sort of oil contamination back here. I can see it bubbling up a little bit, but that's about the only part I see. It's kind of giving me any kind of feedback like that. And for this motor, and as bad as it was, I'll take that. I spent the better part of a day cleaning this thing. It was so nasty. Did pretty good on that one. Textbook Craigslist rebuild. Didn't like the way that looked, and yeah, there's a little bit of gasket there. Here too. Oh, now's the time to find it. It's a little bit like old RTV. You can see it better with the paint on it. And you'll never see this. We got a water pump going there. Golden. I think that's probably a decent stopping point. I think we'll go ahead and let this thing cook for a little while. Let that orange just bake in. If this ain't a Craigslist rebuild, I don't know what is. I mean, we got springs, seals, cam, and we're running what we brung. We're putting a new oil pump on it. I don't even know if it's regular volume, high pressure, high volume. I have no idea. Knowing me, it's probably normal, but it's whatever they had in stock. All right, just gonna let this guy dry. I'm gonna paint the valve covers in a bit. They're gonna be black valve covers, black balancer. I will need to paint water pump and just probably clean up the pulleys. I don't think I necessarily need to paint them, but I might, because there's so much dirt on them you can't really tell if they're black or not, but we'll see. All right, engine's all dried up. I went ahead and gooed the gaskets engine side. I think we should be fine water pump side, but that side, she's a little pitty here and there, and don't want to run into any leaks. So it's just safe. Go ahead and run some RTV on it. If you ever have to change the pump, you're going to be scraping the surface anyways. Just be safe with it. And I did not put this on earlier because I wanted to be able to paint the entire timing cover easily without having to kind of jump around it. Oh, I don't know if this is 9/16 or half. 9/16. I'm just going to run these in where they're tight, snug, crisscross pattern. And then I'll get the torque wrench. Torque these guys down. I'll have to look it up. Again, it's another spec. I don't know. But water pump, now just gotta hose this guy down. I'm gonna tape off a couple spots like the hub here. I don't want paint getting in the bearing, but I'm gonna go ahead and hose her down with some orange paint so it don't get all rusty looking on the front here. 18 foot-pounds for y'all wondering. Not very tight. You can hear me clicking. Might just give her a little bit more. Snug her up. Don't think it's gonna hurt anything. There we go. All right, tape off this snout. Go ahead and throw some orange paint on everything. Y'all get the idea. It's gonna be orange. Nice and shiny. Looking good. Making a little progress. All right, so next, gonna work on pulling our oil pump off here. Leave the screen connected. We're getting a new screen. Oh, we'll see what we got to do to drive the new one on, the new pump. Just trying to be a little careful here. All right, so that guy's gonna live in there. I might need to see. That bushing looks fine, so maybe I don't need to replace it. All right, so you need to clock your oil pump shaft to where it lines up with your shaft that's going to be going to your distributor. You got that guy on. And with our new oil pump and new oil pan, we've got some tolerances we're gonna have to worry about. So, lower oil pan, we're gonna have to mess with kind of angling our pickup and getting it correct. So I'm gonna go grab that. It's in the freezer. I was trying to get it as easy as possible to beat on there. So there's lots of different ways you can attack this. I like to find a wrench, kind of fits over. Try and tap it home. And you'll be able to kind of manipulate the orientation of it once it's driven all the way in. Don't worry about that too much. You just want to make sure you're getting it all the way in up against the oil pump here, and we're good. So we're in. You can spin this guy, and you know what that tells you is there's a good chance it could move while it's in the engine. What I like to do is just kind of give me a little bit of tack if I can. You want to protect, put a towel here, cover up your crank, put you a little tack here, weld, and that way your pickup won't be rotating. What we can do is just kind of dry test our pan, see if we hit, because it definitely hit the old pickup. All right, got the gasket laying there. Pray for me. This is where things could go wrong. The oil pan sits up a foot. So definitely on something there. Let's go extreme. Let's see. And this thing, am I hitting on something? Doesn't feel like anything other than the gasket.
This thing's got a really long ways to go before it's down. Is it not meant for a 4-bolt main? I definitely don't think with the pickup level there, I don't think it's hitting, but I believe something just don't look right. I don't know. Something has to be hitting. Because no? It'll like, I think we might just have to torque it. See if it bends to our will. I can shoot my camera in the drain hole here. All right. Do I have the ability to turn? So it's really hard to see, but I can see the pickup. It's not on the bottom of the pan. Honestly, it could be angled some more towards the bottom of the pan. Nothing in here shows me like the pan is hitting or contacting anything. Maybe this guy kind of compresses down once you get after it. There's no witness marks. Well, there's a big gap that this guy's gonna have to shoot somehow. Don't understand. I'm gonna work on it some more. I'll update y'all in a minute. Well, probably before now I should have thrown the new oil pan on here, but this is how the old oil pan fits and it's correct. So why won't it come off now? Good Lord, it's that tight. So new oil pan, no go. Old oil pan, we're gonna run it and attempt. I mean, it's not like totally low profile, but I don't think you can run much lower. I mean, I think they got this thing about as tight as you can get it up against the crank here. And our crossmember is sort of about yay. It should be here. So hopefully we clear. If not, either we can maybe tap it or cut up the cross member or something, but man, I don't think we got much of an oil pan option, so that's it. I'm gonna put the old oil pump pickup back on here because it's longer than the new one I bought, and that's what you need for this oil pan. And I cleaned it out, brake cleaned it. It's good. There's nothing wrong with it. And I'm gonna start fitting up our oil pan. So there we go. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. It's kind of the story of this build. All right, old truck oil pan installed, torqued to 12 foot-pounds. Got my nifty Fram oil filter because that was the only thing that Walmart had in stock. I actually don't think, is this the right filter? I ought to probably check that. Man, this thing's short. All right, hand tight, we're good. 8873. I should make sure that's the right part number for this motor. She's a tiny little guy. It's pretty funny looking. After looking at this thing, I kind of mocked up where the motor mount will be, did some measuring, crossmember. Just looking at it with my eyes. Hopefully this thing ain't telling me no lies. But there ain't no way. There ain't no way this oil pan would work. And there's an option, it looks like, from Summit. And I'm just gonna go ahead and pull the pan off and wait on those parts. It's not what I want. It's a race looking oil pan and it has a screw-in dipstick. Requires a different pickup from what I got. Think I can still use the same pump though. I don't want to go high volume or high pressure or anything, just standard pump. But I'm gonna try and pull this pan off and not screw up my gasket. That's the goal right here. Can always put on more RTV later. But I'm gonna pull this guy, pull the pickup, and we're waiting on parts now. Good Lord, blew the budget on this one for sure. I think I'm gonna spend more on the oil pan and the pickup than I did on the motor. It's not exactly right, but it's close. It's about as expensive as the camshaft. Good Lord, they're getting me. Please come off easy. Yes. Hadn't had enough time to really set up and harden. You having to do that, act quick. Your RTV won't completely ruin your gasket. So we're just gonna let everything sit, cook, just live out right here. That Summit pan should clear our 4-bolt mains and we'll be fine. Now I just gotta get this pickup out that I jammed in for however, I don't know, is that the 10th time? Who knows? All right, update on everything, guys. So Speedway oil pan would not work. For a Gen 6, will not fit a Gen 6 that's a 4-bolt main. That one's out. So then Summit saved the day. They still make one for a Gen 6. It fits 4-bolt main. And I kept the original pickup that I had for the old oil pan because the depths looked the same. I thought it might fit. It did not. It was a few inches further from this guy. So this is the one Summit in the recommended parts section says goes with their oil pan. So I got it hammered on. You ain't got to worry about welding on this one because it has a bolt attachment at the back. This thing's not going anywhere. You do have to kind of tilt the oil pan a little when you're putting it on, just to get everything to line up where it drops down straight. So now I'm gonna re-RTV my 4 corners, just get under it to make sure I got a tight seal because I did release tension off this. Just want to make sure we're not going to run into any issues. Better to be safe than sorry on the oil pan leak. I will tell you that. So I'm gonna RTV everything, drop the new oil pan on, start zipping the bolts down. I don't know, 12 to 15 foot-pounds, you're probably safe. Just make sure you do use a torque spec, something that's probably over 10 pounds. Torque everything equally. It's important on an oil pan. It will leak, or you'll bend your oil pan. So I'm gonna get on that, and we'll pick it up from there. See, that's as easy as it is. Just tilt her a little bit towards you, and she'll drop right on. Now I'm just eyeballing the seals. Gotta find all the oil pan bolts, put those on for, I don't know, is this the third time now? Get them all started by hand. Don't wanna cross thread your oil pan bolts. That's a bad day. But I would start one on each side. So that kind of helps you kind of loosely align everything, so you're not really working against yourself at some point. Helps keep the gasket straight. All right. Might ting this guy a little bit here in the front. She had a little lip that was kind of curled up, probably damaged in shipping or handling. I bent it back down with some channel locks. But when we torque it down, if there's any upward, curve to it, I'm just gonna tap it a little bit. Don't think it'll hurt anything. Better to try and take care of it now than when it's in the car and you're trying to beat on it and something's in the way there. All right, y'all have watched me do this enough. Go ahead and get these in, torque down. All right, we're flipped back over. Got the China walls gooed an impressive amount, if I do say so myself. Now we're just trying to gently place the gasket down. Everything's lined up. And before you start running bolts in, check your front and rear. Make sure you got compression on that RTV. You don't want right there to be a gap where you're bridged across it and it's air gapped. That's gonna leak, that's gonna spray oil, not just leak. It'll be a spraying oil leak. Tell me, or ask me how I know. Everybody's got to learn from their mistakes, and I did that one time when I did an intake manifold with it still in the car. Just couldn't get like a real good view, the intake and the bell housing, and I had like just a gap, like 1/4 inch gap where there was no RTV. It was like a geyser of oil running down the back of the motor. And it's nothing like when you're working on your project trying to make something better, and at the end of the day you've kind of made it a little bit worse. Always a fun feeling. But I got these super fancy ARP studs just because I had some issues with the Amazon bolts the heads of them being a little too large for this intake manifold. So I got the tiniest, bolt head screws for the intake, so I wouldn't run into any of those issues. Just get everything started by hand. Every single bolt, don't tighten down a single one until you have every one started. And you might need to kind of wiggle a little bit just to get everything lined up perfectly. Totally normal. If I had to guess, these are like 3/8 or 10mm bolt heads. That ought to be pretty nice to get a wrench or a ratchet in there. When you start getting up to like 9/16, which I think is what the old ones were, then you start running into fitment issues of your wrench even against the side of the intake. So I think we're pretty golden. And I'll look up the torque spec of this manifold. It's an aluminum one, so it ain't gonna be very high. Just want to torque these guys even, and if there is a pattern, follow it. It's almost always from the inside out, but depending on your particular application, I guess it could be something different, but look it up. And I'll just be here dropping bolts, getting everything buttoned up and torqued down. So let me finish this up, guys. Psych, don't forget to put thread sealant on your bolts here. Pretty sure all these bolts go into coolant. Could be wrong, but I think when I was cleaning everything out, I could get goo to come out the bolt hole spraying in it. So go ahead and run you some thread sealant on everything. So just slow down and think. What would you be doing if you were working on a small block? You'd be sealing all the threads. Good job, John. All right, torque down intake. Gasket installed in valve cover, and they're pretty clean versus what they were, so let's just leave it at that. This engine was as oil soaked an engine as I've ever really dealt with. My shop, parts of it will probably never be the same, the floor, but did all I could to kind of get as much of the oil and grease. To do these correct, you really need a blast cabinet, because as I was taking all the goo off, then the paint would chip off and kind of got carried away. And these guys, I am going to go ahead and put the spark plug holder part back on. The spark plug wire might be good, might delete on it, but since we have it, let's see if it'll work. I'm running headers. You really need to do everything you can. Keep your wires from getting burnt. Valve cover gaskets on this engine must have been leaking for many, many, many miles. The entire engine was just coated. Some of these that are broken, like these little wire holder things, throw some zip ties in them and they'll be brand new. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this guy down. I got a breather that installs here. Do the other one, and that'll be our PCV port. So these valve covers are exactly the same, so when you install the opposed one, the thing will be in the front, and that'll be a better path for your PCV into your carburetor. So let me go grab some wrenches, get these guys spun on. Torque spec looks like 120 inch-pounds, 100 inch-pounds, somewhere in that range. So just go ahead and snug her down, get her torqued, and then I will take care of the other side. All right, so I want to press on the balancer here. For that, I'm just lubing up the crank snout with some WD-40 penetrating oil. And from everything I've seen, the WD-40 stuff's kind of the real deal. No smell, performs better than your PB Blaster, your Croil even. Know a lot of guys have went to that. But man, if WD-40 makes it, I'll be there to support them. I'm gonna have to grab something big washer. All right, let me find that. I have to use, I don't know. I can find a washer that big, I think. Found it. I actually found the right washer too, the one that's got like the bearing in it. It's kind of abnormal for us. Is this not threading? Oh, help I'd use the right side. Now we're cooked. Got to move this nut all the way to the other side. There are two sides on this, so I had a 50-50 shot of getting it right. Of course I didn't. If you can, I'd avoid beating the balancer on. Have done that before when I didn't have the tool, and I've gotten it to work, but man, you run the risk of damaging the balancer. And this guy's original, reusing on it. So do you really want to beat on that 30-year-old rubber? Not really. Avoid it if I can. All right. I think we're threaded in. And go grab some wrenches. Start pressing this guy on. We're pretty close. TDC. Right around there. All right, 1.25 inches for the win. Maybe. It's tight on here, that's for sure. What you don't want to do is be turning the crank, and it doesn't look like that's happening for us. So if you need to, you got a wrench on this guy as you're tightening it up. Again, put some sort of lubricant, grease, something. Don't want to be doing this dry. Also keep an eye on your timing cover. Make sure nothing's like impacting in a weird spot or smashing the timing cover. This guy should get us pretty straight on there. You'll kind of know when you're done because it just stops. You can't turn it anymore physically. Well, we got enough compression that it'll let us spin this guy on. All right. We are going through the seal right now. I'm just going to spray down the outside here too. Oh, this old man workout. Do want to have this on just to protect that dummy sensor that I got. In case something wants to hit it, it might hit the balancer first, but actually looking at it, I think that thing hangs down lower. So that actually, we're contacting the timing cover right there. We need to back it off. Oh, dang it. Yeah, we're gonna have to pull on this guy a hair. Went too much. Normally, it would tell you, stop. These guys are a little bit different with the different markings around it. We just barely kissed it. All right, I'm gonna get the puller out just a hair. All right, got that balancer pulled out. And what I did is I mocked up crank pulley, water pump pulley, and I pulled it out until it looked like it lined up with the wear marks on the water pump pulley. And it probably came out, I don't know, 3/8 an inch. I don't know, seemed like a lot, but I would have expected, you know, the crank to kind of tell me, hey, stop it before I saw we were touching the timing cover. Maybe these Gen 6s are a little bit different, but usually it'll let you know when you've gone in too far. Well, there is no going in too far. It just stops going and that's it. That's where you leave it. This one, you can go in where your crank pulley won't line up anymore with your water pump pulley. So if you guys are working on Gen 6 with this kind of timing cover, keep that in mind. Ooh, how in the world are we gonna get in here? Putting on motor mounts. Put some paint on the pulleys that we're gonna be putting on later. There we go. Double check all these guys. And your small block, big block, all the mounts for your engine and your frame are all the same. So at least on this Chevelle, from what I found, everything's the same. So we shouldn't have any problems dropping her in. I'll get the other side on, leaving these junky spark plugs in just to kind of keep stuff out of the bores. And we're almost there. I'm about to pull this off the stand, pull our flex plate, do our rear main, drag the transmission I got from undercover outside, inside, pull the torque converter, do input shaft seal, and bolt everything up. So we'll have it all bolted up out here, and then we'll try and stab it in. We might have to pull the front wheels on the Chevelle. I'm not gonna lie, I might just pull them, leave it on the air jack, and just drop it down as low as I can. She seems a little high in the nose these days. Maybe higher than when I pulled it out, that's for sure. So we'll see. Cross that bridge when we get there. Man, this is the first time this engine's been off this engine stand since I bought this engine. It has been bolted up, and if you guys couldn't tell, she was starting to get a little loose or wobbly or something. I don't know, I've never had an engine do this, but I mean, I've spun on this thing a bunch. So it's not super happy in this engine stand anymore after articulating it as much as I have. Yeah, this guy's loose. The actual ear of the engine stand, it started to come untorqued. I might pick up on it a little. I saw it fall some, and I don't want it to have a ton pressure on these last two studs. That's what it should do. It should kind of want to go forward, but not drop down. Freedom. Wow, yeah, both of this side were loose. This guy was loose. I had one kind of tight one left. Yeah. And I torqued everything. Everything got put on with the impact. Just from working it back and forth so much, got loose. trusty tire here. I don't need to lower her all the way down. I just don't want it hanging here. Whew. Slower, please. Probably gonna have to slide the tire in some. Want to be able to get the flex plate off easily, and also bolt the transmission on there really easily. That might be our ticket right there. Whew. This thing scares me. Wants to give it up immediately. All right. That's not ideal position for sliding transmission on, like down and at an angle. What I can do, I can prop it up, get this side down more, but this is actually a excellent access for rear main right now. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that while I'm here. All right, old rear main out. And I use the old self-tapper method. So I ran a couple self-tappers in there. Got my seal tool after I ripped those guys out. Kind of gave me a little bit of room. Just hooked it in there, pried it out. Got my new one tapped on. I think we're okay. It's flush. And now put the flex plate back on, torque the bolts back down. Probably gonna use some Loctite on those. Definitely get those on well where they won't come back off. And then we're on to the transmission. I gotta go find it out in the yard, wherever it is. Well, I know guys, the transmission looks like it came from a junkyard, but it's actually from a really good running truck. Just needs a little cleaning, and it's gonna have to wait until I can drive up to a pressure washer. But I got my new input shaft seal or front pump seal, torque converter seal, however you want to say it, it's installed. Pulled the old guy out, just kind of pried it out. Got the new one in, and I will spray a little lube on our torque converter shaft, and we'll get the torque converter seated and then try and mount the engine to the transmission. And the shaft on this guy, I think that's long. I don't know if these cars came with long or short. We're just gonna have to fit it up in there, see what's going on. I mean, I've planned to get a drive shaft made, so that's not a big deal, but I have a few Turbo 400 A-body drive shafts. Be nice if I could use one. Let's set up and get torque converter stab, and then we'll work on getting the trans hooked up to the engine. All right, and this torque converter, if you needed to fill it with fluid, now would be your time. This guy is still full of fluid, and I believe I'd even changed that fluid not too long before I pulled it from the truck. Kind of done a little maintenance on it before I did the transmission swap. And mainly all the oil you see on the transmission is from the motor leaking, not the transmission. So you're going to want to support your torque converter, spin it. I can actually hear it engaging. There we go. I know she went in there. Whoa. There we go. I think that might have been it. I'm just gonna go ahead and give it some more revolutions. This guy's a little old. Might not do all the clicking and stuff that the new transmissions do when the torque converter seats. Ow. Fingers jammed. Oh, and it's really funny. So if you can't get your fingers at all behind your torque converter and your case, it's a really good indication that you're seated enough in there. So if you can easily put your fingers back behind there, behind your torque converter, then you probably need to go in another click. Got my fingers jammed up there, but it did remind me of actually the thing's in enough. That's good. Now we just got to figure out how to mate the block and the trans. I think the motor's going to come down a little. I can bring it forward, down. And I might almost have the heights pretty close to drive these two guys together. But let me get it kind of fiddled with for a second, and then I'll drop them on together. All right. Can I do it? I don't know. Ooh, it's not that bad. So the motor's twisted a little. If I can get this dowel, oh, the motor actually needs to come up a hair. If I could go, see if I pull her up, does that actually help me at all? This side it does. Yeah, the tire's kind of working against me here. So I can get it lined up there on that dowel. Might be easier if I just have to lift up a hair just so that tire's not interfering with me, but it still kind of is. Do it with no tire, maybe. Just don't put it down on the oil pan, please. Oop. Trans wants to run. Okay. Dowels somewhat lined up. Not going to use these bolts to pull the motor together. Really just using them to kind of hold it from twisting. Don't want to use the bolts to pull it together. You want it kind of sandwiched flat, the bell housing and the transmission, or the bell housing of the transmission and the motor. Then you're good. Then pull out the impact, give it the good gulp. No, don't do that. Just go easy. And now if you want, hook up your torque converter now, you can. I'm gonna kind of look at mine, see how much access I have under here. Not the biggest deal for me with the lift. Climb under there and do it later. All right. So we are flat. Now I just have to find my impact in the 9/16. I know I've got 4 of them laying around here somewhere. Y'all think that dipstick tube is gonna work in this car? We'll see. I mean, it hugs the transmission really tight, so it makes me think it will work. Go ahead and break that ground nut loose. Have it ready to go when I actually do need to tie the ground back in. Man, we got a Power plant. There she is, bolted together first time. 700 horse. Lost the dyno sheet. See if our aluminum China intake manifold's gonna hold 454 and a turbo 400. In all actuality, it's, I don't know, 150 pounds more than the rig we took out. And there's less stuff on this engine. So we're probably not, I mean, I don't know. It's not gonna be exact, but it's not a whole lot more than what we pulled out. Hoping to keep transmission murder scene to a minimum. This might take a minute. I did get the torque converter hooked up. I just went ahead and did it. Just used a long screwdriver to kind of work the flywheel. Whew. I think I'm already worn out. So at least maybe wheel her a little closer. If I can. Kind of need to gauge. Ooh. I think that's it. Need to gauge how much I need to drop the lift down. I can come down a hair more. That might be close to it. But when I pulled this out, I had to have the lift essentially on the legs of this engine hoist. Make sure not be directly under. I'm gonna reposition the camera so we can kind of get a better view. All right, keep going on the one-man stab mission. Try not to get the valve covers up against the engine hoist there. That would be nice. I think we're gonna have to start working our way in. Oh yeah, she clears. She clears by a lot. Might have to put a little touch-up paint on the water pump, but we'll be okay. Man, I called the height of the lift like down to the hair. So now we're kind of to the point where we're gonna have to start lowering her down some. Please go slow. All right, don't get on the valve cover. So I'm gonna kind of have to use the water pump here, the snout. It's not a lot of pressure on it, but just to hold the engine kind of where it's at. I'm gonna have to drop her down. The drops are definitely a two-hand operation. Okay. Trying to get her to just slide a little bit. It's these things, they'll pick up a motor and a transmission, but you need it to roll 1/4 inch sideways and you're screwed. Whew. Gotta go slow. So we're definitely getting close to impacting the oil pan on the trunk or the hood release here. So, oh no, the wiring got wrapped around the trans snout. All right. Now this is where your buddy that you don't like, you tell him, just jump in there and stand on that transmission shaft. It'll be fine. Don't be that buddy. Don't be that buddy. So what I'm trying to do is find the happy medium here where I can get the snout going through the tunnel, and we're almost there, but not dropping the oil pan on the core support. Oh, we're right there. So the core support's kind of helping me out. I'm using it a little bit as a lever, hold the snout down. Now maybe we lower, we can get the sump. It's past the core support. Now we're kind of getting towards the front sump. But that's a lot of the hard part there. Now we can try and slide in. How many of you guys put a 454 and a turbo 400 in a car by yourself? I mean, I know lots of people do it. But I just kind of think it's funny every time I see it, like, that you would try and tackle that by yourself. Like, no one, if something went wrong, you don't even have anybody out here to help you out. That's what cell phones are for, I guess, folks. So I'm just trying to keep some backwards pressure so the deep sump doesn't hang up on the cross member these A bodies have. So now try and get her pushed back some more, which easier said than done with this car. I'm getting to the point in the front here. I ain't gonna have a whole lot. Oh man, I hope. I don't know, that rear sump, it might come in contact with my jack. I don't think so. I just kind of have to keep some pressure going back. Oh. Nope. Just kind of on the pan there. Don't want to do that. So now, trying to think the best plan of action here. She needs to go back. I might crawl under, strap up to the transmission, pull it back. I think that's probably my best course. All right, strap around the trans mount back to the rear end, and the oil pan sump has cleared the cross member. So we're all the way back, I think. We're gonna have to drop her down a little. Might have to play a little game. I actually need to come forward. All right, I'm gonna loosen up my strap. All right, been pulling a little. I think I might have got this thing. And the oil pan is not on my jack. That's great. Now, the engine needs to go down, I think. Nope. But forward. One motor mount is slowly sliding on. Both motor mounts are slowly sliding on, actually. Oh, 200 and whatever pounds of me. It's getting there. Definitely got a little touch-up spot on my valve cover here. Dang it. Paint's expensive. I mean, we are right there. Oh, she's almost home, passenger side and driver. I mean, I might be able to tap these guys, get them, at least one of them to line up. If I could find a hammer anywhere. I just got to show you guys. I mean, I can see half the bolt hole, but man, look. Got our steering shaft clearance, brake booster clearance. I mean, we got dirt all over the valve cover, but that's pretty normal for a motor install. I mean, we're right there. Literally right on the cusp. I got half the hole showing here. So I'm gonna take, screwdriver, pry bar, tap on it a little bit, see if I can just get it to line up where I can slide the bolt in, start hammering her home. Ooh, think I got one. Let's see. Got my new to me motor mount bolts because the old ones were smoked. Oh, still needs a little funny bone right on the core support. Still high. Trying not to tap it past where I need to go. Not the easiest thing to judge. Oh, it's like right there. Might have to actually pick up on it a hair. It's sliding the way it needs to slide. Oh, almost there. No, now that side's not on the motor mount anymore. All right, let me fidget with this thumb. Get everything kind of lined back up. Man, the passenger side was fighting forever. And I had to raise the motor and then kind of lower it down on this pry bar. And that got her right where we need to go. And yes, my motor mount bolts are way too long. But nothing a giant washer won't solve. She's mounted. I'm gonna unhook the cherry picker here, see if I can get under the car and slide the trans mount in just to temporarily have some support on the transmission. It doesn't have to hold it up this moment. But man, this was a game of inches, and it was 1/16 of an inch to get this thing just exactly where it needed to go. But look at all the room you got in this A-body. Just engine compartment for a big block. I mean, this is pretty amazing. Love it. Love it, love it. Can't wait. This is getting me enthusiastic to keep going. Giving me some encouragement. All right, so under the car. She's all bolted in. Well, I mean, not bolted in. It's sitting here. This is just to take weight off the motor mounts. And that's it. So it fits. We're gonna get a drive shaft made. I'm gonna take the yoke from the 454 SS truck when the transmission came out, take the drive shaft for the Chevelle, and then whatever measurements those guys need me, and tell them to make me something that has that yoke, that output to the rear end with that U-joint, and we'll send it. But we almost have an entire drive line under here. Real close. Well, folks, that's where we're gonna call it. She's sitting in. We definitely got some final assembly to do, but man, that was kind of the hard part, wrestling a big block and turbo 400 in by yourself. But it can be done. I mean, leverage is your friend, and just beat on stuff. But I am a little concerned that the suspension didn't go down as much as I thought it would. I mean, we're off the control arms because without the motor in it, the metal control arm was contacting the tower over here of the frame. So, I don't know. Hopefully the radiator, interior, everything else kind of slowly adds up. Battery right over there. Because we need some weight on the front end of this thing, like a lot of weight. Like me putting all my bouncing weight on it kind of is enough to get it to where it'll have some suspension travel, but we've got down travel and like no up travel. Like it hits when it moves a 1/4 inch right now. So hopefully all that water we're gonna put in this thing will weigh her down. That ain't good. That's concerning. But man, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. This was a long time. This is probably over a week for me, kind of coming in when I can and wrenching on this thing. Got us, the big block, rebuilt the heads. Just everything. Dolled this thing up, cammed it. It's gonna chop, like a real chop. And with that turbo 400 out of that 454 SS was stout. The weak link is by far the 10 bolt that's got like an inch of play in it before it catches. So probably gonna roast that thing down, and I'm actively on Facebook Marketplace every day looking for a 12 bolt. So, I thought there was black stuff all over my eye. Doesn't surprise me anything out here. But man, I hope y'all enjoyed this. The Chevelle is coming along. This will be our poverty tour rig. Really hope I don't have to swap out the front springs on it. That's something that could happen, but it's gonna kind of be one of those things, like I'm gonna have to get everything in the car before I make that determination. Because maybe these big block springs just are meant for the exact amount of weight that you're putting on them. But I had a feeling I should have went small block. Just do small block and it'll turn itself into a lowering spring. But if these things are coming out, they're coming out with a torch or a cutoff blade, because I ain't trying to compress those things and get them out. Like, that's super, super sketchy. We'll heat them up till they relax, and then we'll pull them out. But I hope y'all enjoyed it and got something out of this video. And I know people really love this Chevelle. It's a favorite of mine, and this is gonna be a car that I probably keep forever. We're building this. It's kind of like the calling card for our channel, I'd say. And it's kind of an inspiration to me, a conglomeration of my inspiration to do a YouTube channel. So all the people that kind of inspired me, putting a little bit of touch of them here and there throughout the car. So, hope y'all enjoyed it. And if you could, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're super small, but man, we've got some momentum and we're growing, and all the interaction you guys have with our channel helps us a bunch. So we appreciate any of that, any kind of comment. I don't even care if you tell me I did something wrong, because I probably did, but that timing chain, time will tell on the timing chain. So, until you see me again, man, just go out, do something that makes you happy, but make sure you're doing it on full blast. I'll see y'all later.